Good evening, good evening. How's everybody doing today on this wonderful Wednesday evening? Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everybody's had a good day at work, whether you're working or if you're off work today. Hope everybody had a good day regardless and is having a good positive week. Hoping everybody is doing their best to stay positive, be positive, and do positive, and get positive results. And giving positive vibes off the people that may need it. Even though we don't know if they do or not, we may assume they don't. And they may do, they just may not tell us. So anything that you say to them in a positive way or help them out in any type of positive way, or say just simply say something to them, something really nice to them, kind, and that right there may take them out of, the negative mess that they were in, like I said, we never know what a person's going through, so always try to give all positive vibes to everybody, because in this day and time, we all need them. We got to stay positive as possible. So always remember, think positive, be positive, do positive, and get positive results. Give all positive vibe to someone, and you never know, man, it could turn their whole world around, All right, so today, bringing this video to you guys, just something I was thinking about, and a lot of things that, a lot of experience I've had with it myself, and I figured I would share it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the oil pumps on a 91 through 96 Ford Escort GT, or a 90 through 94 Mazda Protege, 95 Mazda Protege LX, 95 through 97 Kia Sophia, and a Mazda Miata. All have these same exact pumps. So I just wanted to shed some light on these oil pumps real quick, so give some people some knowledge on them and stuff like that, and how to check certain things on them and stuff like that, and how to look them over and see if they're good, if they're wore out, or what have you. So all right, well, without further ado, let's get on these oil pumps. All right, so the reason why I got two here is because this is a boundary pump. This is a boundary stage 2. These pumps are just absolutely phenomenal. Love them. They're awesome pumps. Can't beat them. This is the pumps that I run on Donatello. This is Donatello's pump. I actually got to send it back into boundary and have them inspect it and check it over, since I had an engine failure. So I want to make sure everything is good in there. Give it to them, let them do whatever they need to do to it to get it right again. So that's why I have both pumps up here. So basically the same pump, just this is a boundary high performance pump. So it's got a lot of machining inside of it, billet parts, port work, stuff like that, to be able to flow the oil pressure and volume that it needs to flow for the application that I need it for. This is just your old stock generic Mazda pump, and I'm just going to show you guys a few things on these. Very important, whenever you're building an engine, whether it be naturally aspirated or turbocharged, supercharged, nitrous, any type of forced induction, the oil pump is what you always want to take in consideration. Now, before I go any deeper, this is for the people that do not understand and do not know. There's a lot of us that already know this. They already know about these oil pumps. So I'm just basically going off of what I've experienced and where my successes come in, with the things I've learned with oil pumps and stuff on these engines. And so this is not to try to tell anybody what to do that already knows, how these work. I know how they work. This is mainly for the folks that do not understand, and this is their first time seeing this. So give them some knowledge on these pumps, as well as the rest of the engine and stuff like that, and proper oiling and stuff like that. So that way everybody that does not know has an understanding of what's going on. And at the end of this video, if you still feel like you don't understand, feel free to message me or leave a comment below the video, and we'll get together on it and we'll work it out and see what you guys need to understand more. And hey, I'll be happy to teach you and show you whatever I need to do so you can understand. All right, so yeah, so anytime you build an engine, guys and girls, whether it be turbo nitrous, supercharged, or naturally aspirated, like I said, the oil pump is always got to be taken into consideration. Now you got to think, us building these BP engines, using them for whatever, these BP engines, they're 30 plus years old. It came out in the early 90s, so these engines are fairly old. So the blocks we get, have 200 plus, 300 plus, 400 plus thousand miles on them. So if we decide to pull one apart and decide, hey, we're going to go ahead, we're going to build a BP, BP05, a lot of people don't take in consideration the oil pump. Some people just reuse the old 30 plus year old pump. Some people replace them. But one thing to remember on these oil pumps, man, is engine maintenance is key. Engine maintenance is big time key. And the reason why I say that is because I can't stress enough how critical engine maintenance is, especially when you're dealing with an engine that you're putting together, that you're going to race, that you're going to street drive around, whatever have you. That it's very important that you maintenance your engine. And when I say maintenance your engine, that means check the oil in your engine. Change the oil in your engine. Always change your oil in your engine. Check the oil in your engine, and change your oil as you need to. Like if you're racing, change it every race. We always change ours every race. Change it out every race, and just get like a little red cup like this one right here, like a little red cup like that, and just catch the oil and just inspect it. Just look at it. Just look at what it's doing. I know a lot of people, they cut their oil filter, they cut the back side of the oil filters off to see what they look like, just to see if they got any medical particles, anything from the bearings. Now I want to say, if you do happen to actually take and catch some of that oil and inspect it, don't freak out when you got a little bit of, metallics in it. That's normal. That's normal wear on the bearings and stuff. You're going to get that stuff in the oil. That's why it's very important for you to change the oil out so the oil doesn't, become more contaminated and then you ruin the engine, So that's normal. But if you start seeing stuff like, you cut the oil filter loose, right, and you start seeing stuff like big flakes, fairly large flakes of metal, then it's time to probably pull the oil pan off, man, and inspect them bearings and make sure your bearings aren't on their way out. And the gist of that, when you do have engine failure, guess what also suffers? These oil pumps. These oil pumps suffer big time. Big time. They suffer a great deal. So inside these oil pumps, of course, right here, that's a gear. There's two gears inside of here, right? So this gear right here is run off of the crankshaft. This gear is run off of the crankshaft. And then you got another gear. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look good up in there, you see that right there? That's the other gear. So that's the gear that pulls the oil out of the oil pan. And of course you have this strainer here. This strainer sticks down in the oil pan, down in the belly, down in the deep, down in the sump of the oil pan, the deepest part where your oil is pretty much stored in the deepest part of the pan. And of course this oil pickup tube goes down in there and it picks the oil up. The oil pump picks the oil up through that, and it screens it. Of course it screens so no trash, debris gets in the oil pump, stuff like that. But this thing can only catch but so much stuff. If it's small enough, it's going to go right by the screen and go right in the tube and get in your oil pump. So you got gears in here, right? So with that being said, if you have an engine failure because, you blew an engine up racing, that's normal. A lot of people do that. Stuff happens, especially when you drag racing and stuff, or circle track racing, whatever kind of racing you're doing, man. It's, engines don't last forever when they're being raced. So we definitely have to take and, take into account that, hey, At some point, this engine's going to go. Don't know when it's going to, but just keep a check on it. So that way you know if it starts to go, you're like, hey, we need to go ahead and pull it out, pull it down. Don't be like me and go 4 years because, oh man, this thing's running strong. I've been keeping up on the maintenance and all that stuff. And then you go to an event and the thing goes down on you. But it's all good, man. It's a part of racing. It's big time a part of racing. But so just remember, man, like, any trash or debris and stuff, keep your engine as clean as possible. That way, this oil pump will live a long, stress-free life, and your engine will live a long, stress-free life. I mean, my motor lasted 4 years, man, and I have no complaints. No complaints at all. It run great, had great power. So I can't be mad at all. But I'm just glad that it didn't tear up more than it did, which it didn't really tear up a whole lot of stuff, but a lot of the stuff is reusable. But I'm gonna end up going on some different parts anyway, but so it don't really matter. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this pump over and I'm gonna show you guys the gears inside here first, and then we're gonna move. You got a relief valve in here. So this relief valve is what regulates your oil pressure and stuff like that. That's what regulates how much oil pressure is sent to the engine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the gears off first, show you guys how to get the gears out, and then I'm gonna show you guys the oil relief, what the oil relief valve looks like. Pump relief valve, sorry. So let me set him up real quick. Set the camera up here. Set the camera up here so you guys can see what's going on. Well, somewhat. So I'm gonna, let me see if I can point this camera around so you guys can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm gonna get the thing as close as I can. Alright, so that's good right there. Alright, so we'll flip this over, and as you see, there are 7 screws on the back side of this oil pump plate. Right? I'm trying to get it as close as I can. There's 7. Oh, Lord. There we go. There's 7 screws on the back side of this oil pump plate. So I'm going to pull this plate off, and I'm going to show you guys what the gears look like. All right, so when you're taking this pump apart, some things to remember. The correct tools. So this right here is an impact screwdriver. This is an impact screwdriver, right? So when you stick the impact screwdriver in the screw head, you have to tap it with the screwdriver. You have to tap it with the hammer, and it impacts the screw to break it loose. So these things are tightened down really tight. You're not going to take a regular screwdriver and break them loose. You actually have to break them loose with this impact screwdriver. You can get these at any part store, any like Harbor Freight, Advance. I think Napa sells them, AutoZone, O'Reilly's. Some of the tool trucks have them. And then, usually your impact screwdriver will come with an assortment of bits, like 4 or 5 bits. So in this case, you would make sure that you got the correct bit going in that screwdriver and screw head, because if you don't, you'll strip it and then you'll never get it out. So this right here is a number 3 Phillips. This is a number 3 Phillips. I don't even know if I can show y'all the thing on here because it's so small. It says number 3 Phillips right there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's, like I say, it's tiny. I could barely read it, just looking at it. But it's number 3 Phillips. And of course, that will go in here like this. And like I said, you want to make sure that's the right size. And notice how it locks in real tight. Locks in really, really tight. So I'm going to go ahead and bust these loose for y'all. And then I'm going to show y'all the oil pump gears. Here we go. Alright. Takes a few whacks. Boom. Boom. Bam. Yeah, these things are rather tight, so gotta give that impact screwdriver a good whack so you can bust them loose. Alright, got them all loose. Okay, so take this plate off, so I can show you guys what's underneath the plate. It's just a set of gears. Yep. Yep. All right. All right. Okay. Last but not least. Okay. All right, and you're gonna take a screwdriver. Well, sometimes you have to take a screwdriver to pop the little plate off, but there you go. There's the plate. That's the part of the plate that faces the gears. Okay. So let me pull you guys out of the camera stand and get you closer on these gears. So let me flip it up so you guys can see. Alright, that's good enough. Alright. So there you have it. So these are the oil pump gears. That's what they look like. You know, it's just one gear inside of another one. Like I said, this little gear is driven by the crankshaft, which drives the big gear to pull the oil up out of the oil pan. Now, these pumps do get wore out over time. I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me bring my camera up. Alright, so don't know if you can see that or not, but it's got, see those wear marks on the gears? You got wear marks on the gears, right? So those gears ride against this backing plate. And over time, you know, several miles driving, you know, whether it be hard or soft, you know, those gears get wore out. And they'll actually, it'll actually open up clearance, you know, between the back plate and the gears over time. So if you want to ever check that, what you'll do is if you want to check and see how far these gears are from the body of the oil pump, you'll basically take like a straight edge and lay across. So let's just say, let me see, I don't think I got anything up here to really show you guys. All right, like this. So this would be a straight edge, right? That could be a straight edge. So what you do is, and then you take like take a feeler gauge, like a feeler gauge like this, some feeler gauges. You can get these at any parts store too. They sell them. You know, take your feeler gauges like this, and you can basically just slide them up underneath the straight edge, man, to see what kind of clearance you got. Now, I can't tell you what the clearance is supposed to be on this. Don't get me to lying. But I'm sure a Haynes manual or something like that will tell you what the clearance is supposed to be, minimum and maximum. What the clearance is supposed to be basically between the gears and the backing plate. So yeah, man. So yeah, it's very important. You want to keep that in mind. So again, when you have debris and stuff get in the pump, it gets all in here. So let me see. See if I can pull these out real quick. See if I can get them out with one hand. There we go. So debris gets all in there, you know, where the pumps, where the gears ride, and all that stuff. And what happens is, when debris gets in there, it tears up the mating surface, basically the race surface where these gears ride. So inside the pump body, and then of course on this backing plate, you know, where the gears also ride. So you don't want any dirt or debris to get in there or reach this plate or these gears, because what's going to happen is you're going to end up tearing the pump up. So once you tear this pump body up, it's over with. It's 100% over with. So, but like I say, you know, you guys that's putting these engines together and stuff, the guys that are not considering about changing the oil pump out, you know, especially if you're drag racing and stuff. If you're drag racing, I recommend this. I recommend this Boundary pump. It's a stage 2. Just call up Travis at Boundary and let him know what your application is, what you're trying to do, and he's going to ask you questions like, hey, what's your bearing clearance, stuff like that. So you're going to have to know that stuff. So make sure you know that stuff. If you don't, I can help you out with that, and I can help you with that big time. So yeah, so he's going to ask you a series of questions. So just make sure you have the answers for your setup and what you're doing. All right, so back to this one. So yeah, so what's happening is you have, let's say you have, again, you say you got debris that comes in here, and what happens is you get trash all in this area, and it tears the gears up, and then it'll also hang this relief valve. Now I'm gonna pull this apart and show you the relief valve real quick, if that'll agree with me. So I'm just gonna throw this and see how see the wear pattern where those gears are riding at. So imagine if you got and it's very tight tolerance. The tolerance is very tight because it has to pull the oil out of the pan and pump it throughout the block, the cylinder head, and whatever else you have, on the engine needs to be oil, like a turbocharger, oil cooler, whatever it may be. Very tight tolerances, very tight. So if anything gets in here and it gets between these gears and these race surfaces, it's over with. It's 100% over with. Promise you that. I've been there and done that so many times. So I can tell y'all from experience, yeah, once you find out your oil pump is toast, it's never a good day. Never, ever a good day. Never a good day. And so I'm going to throw these screws back in here since I showed you all that real quick. And then I'll just show y'all this relief valve. And also remember, when you're mating your fuel with your oil pumps, make sure you put your gaskets and make sure you do not miss that O-ring. That O-ring right there seals to the block. This port is what supplies oil to the engine block and the cylinder head and everything else. So if you leave that oil O-ring out, you're going to have a mess. You're going to have a big mess. A big old mess. Trust me, you don't want a big old mess. So you don't want a huge mess. Now I'm going to take this, put y'all back right here again. I'm going to take this off. So this oil pump relief valve is nothing more than a cotter pin. You bend that straight, pop that out, and then a relief valve comes out to you. And it's nothing more than a spring and a piston. And I'm going to show you that too. When you get that spring and that piston hung, bind it up, man. You're in really big trouble. When you bind that up, it's over with. You simply just take pliers and, like I said, you bend that cotter pin tail straight, pull this out, shoot. Hold your finger here, because this thing is going to want to fly out at you. It's spring loaded. It's got a spring on it. So there's a cap, and there's a spring. And I don't know if that piston is going to come up out of there, because it's probably been there for a while. It may or may not come out. But so I'll show y'all real quick. So yeah, this is your spring loaded against that piston on the relief valve, and there's a cap. Let me see if it'll come out. It might not. I think it's coming down. Hold on. Yeah, there it is. It's coming. Good thing we ain't using this oil pump no more, huh? Just a wooden table I'm beating on anyway. Well, there's the bottom of the piston right there. So let me see if I can get it to come all the way out. There it is. Oh, yay! We got it. Like I said, good thing we ain't using that old pump no more. But, so, this is the piston. Let me grab something and wipe it off so I can show y'all better these parts. Hold on. Alright. Do. All right, one more second. All right, so Okay, so that is the relief valve for the oil pump. This is the piston. This is basically a regulator for the pump. So this regulates how much pressure. The pump puts out. Not necessarily volume. This adjusts pressure, not volume. Your volume is going to be adjusted throughout how your gears are cut, you know, how they do the porting and the oil pump, you know, from here to there. Like from right here where the inlet is, and then right here where the outlet is. That's going to determine your actual volume, your flow. This is going to determine your actual pressure. So, and if you look at this thing, and it's pretty wore out. I mean, it's got some, I've seen some gouges on it. I don't know if you guys can see those marks. See those marks there? They're pretty rough. Pretty rough marks there. So, so yeah, it looked like a little something got up in there and got up in the relief valve area and kind of gnarled on this piston a little bit. And so if the piston looks like this, you can only imagine what the actual bore looks like. You know what I'm saying? Because it's only aluminum. It's just aluminum. So you can only imagine what the bore looks like. So, yeah, you can only imagine what that bore looks like if that piston got scratched like that. But that is your oil pump relief valve. That's what it looks like. You got your oil pump, the piston goes in first, then your spring goes in, and then your cap goes behind it. Now when you put all this back in this port, you got to push that sucker down in there and get it in there good, and then run that cotter pin up in there and bend it down, because I mean, once you run the cotter pin across, you're good. But I'm telling you, and be careful, like I said, when you take this cotter pin out, where is it? When you take this cotter pin out of there, this thing is going to want to blast back at you because it's, like I said, it's spring loaded. So just remember that. So, all right, well, I think that's going to pretty much cover the oil pumps. Of course, I'm not going to take that one apart because I have to send it back for inspection. I'm not going to touch it. I bought it just like it is, and I'm going to send it back so they can check it out for me. But yeah, so, oh, another thing, real quick while I'm here. These oil dipstick tubes. That's where they go down right through there. Make sure you get you a nice size punch that fits the bottom of that oil dipstick tube perfect so you can drive it out. You don't have any issues, because these things can be a pain in the ass. Pain in the ass. So just make sure that you have the correct punch to knock this thing up out of here and put it in your new pump. If your new pump doesn't come with it, 9 times out of 10, a lot of them don't come with it. So you have to end up using your old dipstick tube. All right, well, I think I have covered just about everything I wanted to cover today. I talked about the gears here. I talked about engine maintenance, keeping debris and trash out of the engine oil, out of the engine period. So it keeps it out of the journal area on the crankshaft, the rods, your cams, and your oil pump. Your oil pump suffers the worst. And if anything gets in that oil pump, let me tell you, like I said, it's not going to be a fun day for somebody. Promise you that. It is not going to be a fun day for someone. I promise you that. They are going to be upset when they lose oil pressure and don't know why. Because 9 times out of 10, when you lose oil pressure on these engines, debris has gotten inside of this oil pump, and what happens is it'll stick this piston. So this piston is designed to go up and down like this. You know, when it pulls oil in, it does just like this as a regulator. But as soon as a piece of debris or any trash gets in there and hangs it up, wherever it's at, that's where it is. So it doesn't keep up with the engine RPM. So this actually moves with engine RPM, as well as those gears move with engine RPM. So if these gears are moving with the engine RPM and you're at 6,000-7,000 RPMs, and this thing is stuck in a position as if you were like at idle, guess what? That oil pressure will never increase. It'll stay where it is, and it's not going to meet that RPM range, and then you're going to have some engine parts that are going to suffer a great deal of some metal touching. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in on this channel, and tuning in on this video. I figured I would go ahead and put this together. I'm always thinking about videos and stuff to put together for people. Just that was my little brother calling, by the way. I'm always thinking about videos to put together for people and what people might be interested in. So like I say, if you guys have a video that you want me to try to put out there, let me know, and I will more than happy put it out there for you, man. I definitely will. Do what I can to put it together. All right. Well, this is going to conclude this video. If anybody's got any questions, please reach out to me. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Leave some comments below. If you have a question about these oil pumps, or if you have a question about, hey, what can I do to, raise the oil pressure, or what can I do about getting an oil pump from Travis at Boundary, I'm telling you, any of you high performance guys building BPs, get this Boundary pump. It costs a little bit of money, but it is worth the money. Trust me, it is well worth it. I'm telling you, I ran this pump 4 years on my engine. Not a single issue. I loved every bit of it. All right. Okay, guys, I'm going to hop off here. Just like I said, it's going to conclude this video, and I will catch you guys on the next one. All right. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their evening, and I will be checking up out of here. Peace out.